talk about feeling overwhelmed. Um, I know myself, I have dealt with this. I know that this is an issue for a lot of my clients that I talk to. And so I just want to talk about that today. I want to talk about, first of all, what causes it, and second of all, what to do about it. So, the definition of being overwhelmed, what is that? So, the definition of being overwhelmed is being overcome by force or numbers. And so that's the first definition. The second definition is completely overcome by or overpowered by thoughts or feelings. And so when I'm talking about overwhelm, I'm talking about the second definition. I'm talking about, well, I guess it could technically be the first one too, because maybe you just have way too many things going on. And so the sheer number of things that you have to do is overwhelming. But I really want to talk about the second part of that as well, in that, when we have so many things to do and we feel like we're constantly having to go and achieve and do the next thing, it can really, really bring up these overwhelming feelings. And that a lot of that goes back to our thoughts, and it actually creates this physical sensation in our body. So what happens when we get overwhelmed? We get fatigued. We can have confusion. So, it's like when you have too many things that you're thinking about, too many things going on in your brain, too much going on, it can create confusion. It can make it hard to concentrate. It can amplify your emotions. So, you can get to the point where, because you're so overwhelmed, you're almost not even thinking logically, because your emotions are so amplified, because you're so stressed out, because you have this overwhelm of all of these things that you're trying to do, accomplish, be. And so, a lot of those things can really affect our daily life. It can really get in the way of our problem solving. It can get in the way of just our daily feeling good, and it can become an issue. So, one of the things that when we have this happen, it's almost like a loop. It's like we get caught in this pattern of feeling overwhelmed. And then, I don't know about you, but when that happens to me, and this can affect everybody differently, obviously, but when it happens to me, I get to the point where I almost don't want to do anything. If I'm overwhelmed, it's like my brain just kind of goes into this foggy state, and it's like shuts down. And so it's like my logical mind is like, I have so much to do. And then it's like my physical body and my mental aspect of things is just like, Jen, you got to chill out. And so it's almost like my brain goes into like shut off mode, and then I don't get anything done. And so one of the things that I've learned throughout the years, I would consider myself to be a hard worker. I would consider myself to be, in some ways, an overachiever. And so this is something that I've dealt with quite a bit, is the overwhelm. And like I said, a lot of my clients have this issue as well. They come to me and they're just feeling so overwhelmed with life and all the things that they need to do. And maybe it's you're a parent and you're juggling work and family life, and you're trying to do all the things that go along with that. And I feel you and I hear you on that, because I definitely understand, and I've been there as well. So what do we do about it when we're feeling really overwhelmed, when we're feeling like we are drowning? We're sinking rather than swimming. I don't know if you guys have ever seen, I'm sure you have, the movie Finding Nemo, where she says, just keep swimming. Dory just says, just keep swimming. There have been times in my life where I've literally repeated that phrase to myself over and over, just keep swimming, because sometimes that's what it feels like. It feels like you just have to keep going and keep going through the motions and try to stay afloat. So what do you do about it? What do you do about feeling overwhelmed? What are some things that can take some of this overwhelming feeling away? First of all, you need to understand why you're feeling overwhelmed. So I talk a lot about, with my clients, getting to the root cause of things. So what's causing whatever this feeling that you're feeling is, or the certain belief or whatever. So the first thing is really think about why you're feeling overwhelmed. And sometimes just identifying the why can be a huge step into eliminating some of the things that are on your plate. So ask yourself this question: if you could eliminate two things that would take 80% of your overwhelm or your stress off of your plate or off of your shoulders, what would that be? What would those two things be? So I mentioned parenting in the beginning and work, and I know that those are two things you can't just get rid of your kids, obviously, and you can't just quit your job. So I'm not suggesting that you can eliminate all of the reasons for your overwhelm. But by asking yourself this question, if there were two things that you could take off of your plate that would eliminate 80% of your overwhelm, what you're doing is you're identifying the things that are causing you the feelings of stress the most. And then with that, you can work with it. So identifying it is the first step in that. Is there something after you identify it that you can do to help ease some of that responsibility? So I'm going to go with the parenting issue. A lot of us, I know for a while, I was a single mom. I was juggling work and school and two kids who at the time were very small. And, there's just a lot to do in the day. And there was a lot that I was trying to accomplish. And so, you can't necessarily get rid of all of the things that you have to do, but maybe there are some things in there that you could eliminate. Or maybe there are some things that are contributing to your overwhelm that aren't necessarily helping you get to your goals of what you're trying to do. I know for me, another big thing that helps a lot is when I have a lot of things that I'm trying to do and I'm juggling so much, it's creating a schedule and creating lists and kind of breaking those things down into smaller steps. So when I was a single mom and my kids were little, what I would have to do is I would literally have to schedule everything. I would schedule, and I would be to the point where I was super efficient about everything that I did because there was only one of me. And I had, my son was going to daycare, my daughter was going to school, I was having to go to work, I was doing, like I said, I was in school at the time. And so there was a lot going on. And so one of the reasons that I, out of pure need, I guess, I came up with a schedule and thought, okay, can I hit the grocery store on my way home from picking up my son in between picking up my daughter? And that was kind of how I made it all work. So in that case, it wasn't necessarily removing things from my life because everything at that time that was going on was necessary. It was more so about being efficient in what I was doing, and that really helped a lot when I was able to get disciplined and kind of cut out the extra things that were taking away my time and really just focus on what I needed to do. That definitely... Oh, looks like we're having some internet issues here. Sorry, guys. But alright, well, hopefully I can finish out this video. Internet's being a little funky today. Anyway, so setting boundaries is another really, really important thing that you can do to help yourself not feel so overwhelmed. So it's okay to say no. And this used to be something that I struggled with a lot. Again, a lot of my clients struggle with this. For some reason, there's this need to people please, and there's this need to make everybody happy. And it's like, especially for people who are overachievers, or people who are really maybe like a type A personality, or have that perfectionist side to them, it can be really easy to fall into this people pleasing trap. And so one of the things that I recommend is to really take a look at the areas of your life that you're feeling overwhelmed, and set some boundaries around that. And boundaries is a whole nother topic, but boundaries can really, really make a huge difference, because you are eliminating the things that people want you to do, and you're focusing on the things that are going to move you forward, or that you need to do in life. So set some boundaries. Another thing is simplify. So do you have things in your life that you're doing? Like one of the things, so I've been an entrepreneur for a really long time, most of my life actually. And one of the things that can really easily happen is you can get caught up in doing things, in being busy, in doing work, because it makes you feel like you're being productive, or you're doing something literally. So it's like when you accomplish something, there's a sense of feeling good that comes along with that. But there's also doing things that aren't important. And when you are doing too much, it creates this sense of overwhelm. So is there anything that you can eliminate that is just kind of like this busy work that you're doing? So I would suggest taking a look at that. Can you make a list of the things that are your goals, and really just focus on doing tasks that are in relation to those goals, things that will propel you forward. That's what you focus on, and that's what you give your time and attention to, and eliminate the rest. And when you can do that, a lot of that overwhelm will start to disappear. The next thing is challenging your current beliefs. So what are you believing about doing? Are you doing too much for other people? I mentioned being a people pleaser. Are you trying to make everybody around you happy by taking on too much and handling everything and carrying the world on your shoulders? If that's you, there might be some beliefs that you should take a look at. So one of the things that you can ask yourself is, what types of questions or what types of beliefs do you have around being busy or overwhelmed? So when I had my marketing business, one of the things that was a big struggle for me was I felt like I just had way too much on my plate. I needed help, but also it was really hard for me because my marketing business was my baby, so to speak. I had put so much blood, sweat, and tears into it. It was hard for me to ask for help and to release some of that control, which really was holding me back. It was trying to do everything myself was actually making me feel more overwhelmed than if I would have allowed some people to help me out. And one of the things that I look back on it now and I wish that I would have done sooner was I wish I would have hired people sooner on. But I tried to take on too much, and it gave me this huge sense of being overwhelmed. And that led to me being really unhappy and just kind of miserable. and stressed, feeling like I didn't have enough time, feeling like I was dropping balls everywhere, where it was like I'm trying to do everything, but I'm not really doing anything great. And so what I would say is, if you feel like that's you, challenge some of your current beliefs. An example would be, if you're not there to help other people, maybe you feel like you won't be valuable or you won't be needed. And so that's why you offer to help all the time, whether it's good or bad for you. Another example would be, if you lose control of the situation, then everything's going to fall apart. And, maybe that's true in some regards, but maybe it's not true. So just take a look at what the beliefs are behind why you feel like you should be handling all of the things that you're handling, and doing all the things that you're doing. Are you the only one that can get things done the right way? Or is there somebody else that can maybe take some of that burden off of you? And the next one kind of goes along with that. So challenge perfectionism. So a lot of us, when we feel overwhelmed and we're trying to handle everything, there's this sense of trying to do things the right way, or trying to be perfect, or have things perfect in what we're trying to accomplish. So some of you guys might have seen, I posted a while ago a class that I created. It's called The Empowered Life, and it talks about essentially stepping into your best life. But when I was creating that class, I had an amazing teacher, Jason Goldberg, who is also a coach. And one of the things that he talks about quite a bit in that course, that taught me how to do my course, was, don't focus on perfect, focus on getting it done. So are there things in your life right now that you're trying too hard, you're trying to make perfect, and because you're trying to have it be perfect, it's almost like blocking you from getting to the end result? So if that is the case, what I would say to you is, focus on getting it done instead of getting it perfect. Of course, you want to do the best that you can do. You don't want to just, half-ass something just to get it done, just to do it. You want to always do your best. But is there a point where your best is turning into you feeling like it needs to be perfect? And it's right at that line when things start to tip, and when you feel like something isn't working, or it's not perfect exactly the way that you want it to be, it can be a really overwhelming feeling. And what can happen is, it can actually kind of stop you dead in your tracks, and then you're not making any progress. So sometimes it's better to just get things done rather than have them be perfect. And you can always go back later and revise and add or take away or whatever after it's finished, if you feel like that's what needs to happen. The next thing is focusing on what you can control. So a lot of people feel like by handling everything, they can control the outcome, or if they don't handle everything, that maybe things will not run smoothly. It's really, really easy to focus on all of the things that are not in our control. But I would say, focus on the things that you can. What is in your control? By focusing on the things that you can't control, it actually increases your anxiety, and it actually makes you feel more overwhelmed. And so by kind of shifting that mindset and thinking about, okay, maybe this, and this are out of my control, but this is something that I have control over. And sometimes maybe it's just your mindset. Maybe it's just the way that you're thinking about a situation. Maybe that's all you have control over. You can't control what other people do. You can't control life, but you can control how you think about a situation and the thoughts that come up for you. So focus on the things that are within your power. So the next thing I would say, if you're feeling really, really overwhelmed, is there anything that you can outsource or know that sometimes it's not financially viable to outsource the things that we wish that we could. But I think sometimes we would be surprised at some of the things that we try to take on ourselves that add to the overwhelm that, no, my connection's being funky. Sorry, guys. Sometimes we would be surprised some of these things that we just, are really struggling to get them done. Like so I mentioned being in marketing for a long time. One of the things that I would come across a lot is people would try to learn how to do their own websites. And really, I mean, it's not just a simple little thing to do a website. And so oftentimes clients would come to me after they've spent hours and hours, and oftentimes these were small business owners, so they're trying to save money, but they would come to me and they would be so frustrated because they've spent all this time and energy trying to learn how to build a website, and it didn't look the way that they wanted it to. It didn't perform the way that they wanted it to. And so that's kind of when they would come to me. So my suggestion would be, if there's something that you can outsource or delegate to somebody else to ease some of your load, to ease some of the things that you've got going on a daily basis, leave that to the experts. Leave that to the professionals. As far as like the websites, as an example, that's something that was a lot of time and made people feel really overwhelmed. But if they would have just invested and outsourced that, they could have focused on what was the best use of their time. So ask yourself that question. Is this the best use of your time? And time really is the most valuable thing that we have. It's the only thing that we can't get back in life. So what is the highest and best use of your time? The next thing that I would suggest is focus on right now. So what is right now? What is important right now? Don't be thinking about the 20 things that you need to do to get done, to accomplish by the end of the day or tomorrow or whatever. Just focus on the single most important thing that you have going on right now. And if you are feeling really, really overwhelmed, when you have a million things going on, it can be kind of hard to do that, right? So I would say that if you are struggling with bringing yourself and just being in the moment and focusing, there are some things that you can do. For me, I find that just stopping and taking a deep breath, just taking some breaths can be really helpful. It's kind of like resetting your system. Meditating for a little bit, even if it's just a couple minutes, 5 minutes, just sometimes taking that break, having that quiet time, just sitting and being quiet can really refocus and calm your overwhelm down. Other things that could be helpful are to get up and move around. So like for me, I spend a lot of time sitting in the day. I spend a lot of time, a lot of my calls with my clients are via Zoom. And so I spend a lot of time sitting and also a lot of time at my computer. And so sometimes just getting up and going outside for a couple minutes and moving around can be really helpful. And there's another thing that I've started doing that can also be really helpful is that make a list of the 5 things that you want to accomplish today. So every morning when you get up, think about the 5 most important things that you need to get done today and write that down. So I actually have a whiteboard on my fridge, and every morning I write down 5 things that I want to accomplish today. And I always do those things first. So always focus on your most important things first, and then the rest of it kind of comes after that. So it's about prioritizing and making sure that even if you don't get your whole list done, at least you got your 5 most important things done, and that can take away some of that overwhelm as well. This kind of goes along with what I was saying with taking a break and just going out and, maybe taking a walk outside, but practicing self-care is super, super important. A lot of times when you're trying to juggle so many things, and if there's kids in the mix, or maybe you're working a lot of hours at work, it can be really, really easy to sacrifice your needs, literally what you need. So maybe that's getting enough sleep, maybe it's eating properly, maybe it's just taking rest. A lot of us, it's like this culture that we have. We are so ingrained that we need to be doing all the time. We need to be accomplishing all the time. And we go to work, throughout the week, and then maybe on the weekends we have some downtime. But then on the weekends, we have all these things that we need to do for our homes, or, for our kids, or whatever it may be. But a lot of times what happens is we're not taking the time that we need to give ourselves self-care. And that also adds to the perpetual overwhelm, because you're not resting. And so when you can just take a break, a lot of times you can come back better and stronger than if you just keep pushing and pushing and pushing through. Because what happens is your body goes into fight or flight. And when you're always trying to do, go, at some point your body is going to have enough. Your mind is going to have enough. It's going to be too much, and you're going to crash. And that's usually when we get sick. That's usually when we get to these points where we're just kind of so fatigued that we can't think straight, and then it makes it hard to do anything. So incorporating self-care and actually scheduling time for that can be so, so important in getting rid of overwhelm. And the final thing that I would say is do things that you love to do. So often we get so caught up in what we think we should be doing. We get so caught up in what other people want us to do, other people's expectations, what we feel like we should be doing, that we put off the things that we really love to do and the things that we really enjoy doing. So, for me, even just listening to music is something that I love to do. Going for a walk with my dog is something that I love to do. You guys see that I post all the time, different places that I travel. So this is something that I've gotten a lot better at over the last, I would say, 5 or 6 years. But up until that point, I was so dedicated and focused on my business that it was like all or nothing. And then obviously, I had my kids that needed my attention, and I had to drive places, and so there was a lot going on. But what I realized is that taking time for myself to, first of all, have that downtime and that self-care that I talked about, but second of all, doing things that I love to do, those things are what energize me. Those things are what's gonna refill your cup, so to speak, because you're having fun, you're laughing, you're doing things that feed your soul rather than doing things that you feel like you have to do. And it's those things that you feel like you have to do that create that sense of overwhelm. So maybe it's just cooking dinner. Maybe it's just making yourself a really nice dinner and having a glass of wine if you drink wine. It doesn't have to be anything huge. Just do things that you like to do. Go watch the sunset. The sunset says, I can't even talk today. The sun sets pretty quickly. And so going outside for 10, 15 minutes sometimes can reset everything. So do the things that you love. And I guess to close this out, I'm going to keep this kind of short today, but to close this out, if you're struggling with feeling overwhelmed or feeling really anxious and you're just not quite sure how to deal with that and you want some help with that, shoot me a message. I'm happy to help. I'm happy to listen and just be there. So I hope you guys are having an awesome day. I hope that you got some value from this. Sorry, my internet was kind of funky today, but I hope you guys were able to catch the video and leave me a message, give me a heart, just, say hi. So I hope you guys are doing good. I'll talk to you soon. Oh, one more thing. I think what I'm going to do from here on out, I'm going to try to do some videos on Wednesday. So next week will be on Wednesday, not Tuesday. I'm just going to play around with it a little bit and see if there might be some more people online on Wednesday as opposed to Tuesdays. So it'll be at the same time, 1 o'clock, but next week will be on Wednesday. So, all right, you guys, I'll talk to you soon. Take care, and I hope you have an amazing day.